Today, I wanted to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and redemption. I wanted to talk about how yesterday was a tough practice for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially their secondary. Obviously, seeing Darius Slay limping off the field sounds like he's all right, but it was a tough day. It was probably the first time that we felt like, as the Eagles, during a joint practice, we actually lost, right? So it blemished our record a little bit, but at the end of the day, we won the war because the Miami Dolphins ended up quitting, and that's what I'm going with, on today's joint practice. So we are still undefeated. But all seriousness, all jokes aside, I want to talk about what this may mean for the preseason game and what it may mean for the Eagles moving forward. So let's get into it.
You want Philly food?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today, I want to talk about this joint practice being canceled. I want to talk about the possibility of this preseason game being canceled and just kind of what it means, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 4K. We would love for you guys to join that ride. So let's hop right into it. I didn't make a joke there. That was weird. Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming, later in this video. I'll make a joke. But either way, the Eagles and the Miami Dolphins are obviously not practicing today. They did cancel the joint practice. Depending on when this is actually dropped, you already know, or you now know, or wondering why they weren't practicing. So the Miami Dolphins, apparently all their players were throwing up and were sick last night, caught a stomach bug. So, precautionary, they're just not going to practice today. They don't want to put, Eagles players at risk, nor any of the Miami Dolphins players that may be healthy at risk of getting sick. Understand it, totally get it. I'm saying that they quit, right? I'm going to say that they quit so that we can say we won the joint practices. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? It sucks. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I like that the Eagles are still practicing. The team doctors did look at all the Eagles players, said they felt confident in the Eagles still practicing in Miami's facility. So they still did, depending on when you watch this, got some practice in. They still are able to kind of get their guys going. It stinks because I'm sure that I wanted to see if Darius Slay was going to be back, right? I wanted to see if he would have participated in 11 versus 11s. When we get to the preseason game, we're not going to really see him. We're not going to really see A.J. Brown. We're not going to really see Devontae Smith, who was going crazy yesterday. A.J. Brown as well had a really good joint practice. But I wanted to see this defense on the field, man. Last game, a lot of people were clipping, little plays of Jordan Davis looking like he was tired, and Kobe Dean wasn't necessarily what he was in the first preseason game. There was a fall off. There was a dip in production. So we wanted to see if that got corrected, right? If that's better. We keep on hearing Jonathan Gannon say that he feels confident with his safety group. We wanted to see that. I want to see this is probably the best wide receiving core that we're going to go against possibly all season, especially. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, who are we going to go against that can really compare to a Waddle and a Tyreek Hill? I know that Waddle was out yesterday, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Which brings me to my next point. I reached out to Ruben Frank. Shout out to my guy Rube. We've had him on the channel a couple times. And I asked him, I was like, what does this mean for preseason? Does this possibly mean that preseason game is going to be, affected and maybe canceled? And he said that it's all up in the air at this point, quoting Tom Pelissero, who said they're trying to see what happens. They did this. They canceled this practice in hopes that people would be ready for Saturday. So I'm hoping we still get a football game. It is at 7 o'clock. So there's a big window of time that the Miami Dolphins players have to get healthy. Eagles players have to make sure that they don't get sick. So, some people I'm seeing on Twitter, I'm seeing some people say, let's just pack up, let's go home. I don't want to play this. I want to see this game. I want to see the Eagles out there. I know that it's probably going to be for at the very most a series or two, at the very, very most a series or two that we'll see these starters. But I really want to see Tyreek Hill against our defense. I really want to see Jalen Waddle against our defense. I want to see Mike Gesicki against our defense. Even though I'm hearing that he might get traded, we'll see what happens. But they have some good weapons, right? Tua is very comparable to Jalen Hurts in a lot of ways. So I wanted to see this. I was excited for the Browns. I was excited for the Jets, right? Because it was like the start of the season. You were kind of learning what your team was. This was the best test that we had this offseason, in my opinion. So it sucks that we're losing a day. I'm just hoping we don't lose the preseason as well. And you know, my question becomes, does this preseason become a little bit more like a joint practice, a little bit more like a game? I know in joint practices, you kind of, you tell what the players what you're doing next, right? It's very controlled, very, you know, structured, I think is the best way of putting it. It's harder to do that in a real game setting, but do you go out there and put your starters out there for a little bit longer than you necessarily would have if you had this joint practice? I do believe that the Eagles, and I've said this before, that they look at the joint practice in higher regards than they look at these preseason games, but losing one may change your thought process a little bit. Personally, look, there's guys I want to see. There's guys that I don't necessarily need to see, right? I've said that before, but I need this preseason game, man. I really do. I want this preseason game. I need this preseason game. There's 3 position groups I need to see out there on the field to make sure I feel comfortable with them. And that's the safety group. That's the running back group. And, honestly, I could say that it's the linebacking group because I know a lot of people are very high on what Nakobe Dean can bring to this team. TJ Edwards has proven that he's a very solid player. Kyron Johnson has Kaiser White has had a beautiful welcoming to Philadelphia, a couple of great weeks in camp, but I want to see it consistently. I want to see Davion Taylor out there. I want to see what we realistically have. I love what we have on paper, but we haven't really seen our linebackers go out there and play crazy, right? Outside of that one or two drives that we had our starters out there against the Jets, but it's the Jets. I want to see this against a really good team. I want to see this against a team that's going to give us some troubles, right? Some troubles with the weapons that they have, and I think that the Miami Dolphins are probably our best chance to get that. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think that we lose a whole bunch. I don't think that this is a huge step back for the Philadelphia Eagles losing this day, but it is tough. It is tough. And one more thing I wanted to talk about. You guys let me know how you're feeling about missing the practice. But there is one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it's not. I'm not going to talk junk because I think that's terrible karma. But the Cowboys lost their left tackle, Tyron Smith, looking like he won't be back till December the earliest. It might be all season. Obviously, that's their left tackle. That's their all-pro guy. That's their all-world guy, big guy. Big piece for the Dallas Cowboys. And I've seen a lot of people saying, maybe if they call for Andre Dillard, maybe we pick up that phone. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say definitely not. It's not the pettiness of saying, I don't want to help the Dallas Cowboys. But unless we're fleecing the heck out of them, and I'm talking about multiple, day 1, day 2 picks. I'm talking like a first and a second, maybe. I'm talking about fleecing them, which is probably very unrealistic, right? But if we can fleece them, then cool, that's fine. But I'm not giving them something they need, especially when the Eagles are trying to win this division. It makes us a little bit weaker. I understand that we all have faith and we believe and we love Jordan Mailata as we should, but you never know, knock on wood, you never know what's going to happen in this game. It is a scary game, a scary game. So I'm not giving away my cookies. I'm not giving away the guys that we have that make us a little bit better than the other teams. So no, Dallas, I'm sorry. You guys better go figure something out. Go get one of these retired players on FSN that want to come play for you guys. Don't call us. Don't text us. Don't message us. Don't email us. Don't make a video asking about Andre Dillard. Don't ask me about Andre Dillard because it ain't happening. All right, Howie, don't even look at that phone if it's a Dallas area code. I don't want to hear it. If I hear that the Eagles trade Dillard for anything less than 2 day 1 and 2 picks, I want a first and a second. If I hear anything less than that, maybe a first. All right, if they give us a first, maybe I could live with that, right? Because then you have 4 day 1 and 2 picks next year. That sounds good, but I want to fleece them. I don't want to just give them to them. If we give them up for like a 3rd, a 4th, or a 5th round pick, I'll be pissed. I'll be royally pissed. So I just wanted to get my opinions on that. Could care less. I feel bad for Tyron Smith. I could care less about the Cowboys going through it. We've been there and they gave us no mercy. So I'm giving you no mercy. We've been there. We won a Super Bowl with our left tackle out. Ball's in your court, Cowboys. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. We are out here. Peace, y'all. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for
Yeah. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling the Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season head, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.